Started. Thank you, Tommy, for starting the recording. Hello, everyone. My name is Dada Ibrahimovic. I am a professional development specialist with the Illinois Student Assistance Commission. Thank you for joining us today. We are going to be talking about the Illinois Postsecondary and Career Expectations, or otherwise known as PaCE updates. But before we begin, we're just going to go ahead and go through some housekeeping items with y'all. So first and foremost, the session is being recorded. If you are having trouble connecting audio through your computer, or if one of your colleagues is texting you like, hey, I can't hear her, what's going on? They can either play with the audio settings, the input output, or you can use the call me option for audio instead, where it calls you on your phone. So you'll hear us through your phone, but see us on your screen. If you do happen to have any questions throughout today's presentation, I do have quite a few of my colleagues on today to help answer any questions that you may have. Just as I'm presenting, I will not be able to see any questions pop up or anything like that. Yeah, I do have colleagues that will be able to answer those questions for you. So go ahead and use the Q&A feature on the bottom right-hand corner with a little question mark on it. And you can type your questions in there. And there are continuing education and professional development hours for today's webinar as well. And if you are interested in looking at any previous webinars, we do have it on our on-demand page. All right, so let's begin with a little bit about ISAC. So we are the state's financial aid agency. We administer scholarships and grants to students across the state of Illinois who decide to stay in the state of Illinois for college. And our mission statement is providing Illinois students with information and assistance to help make education beyond high school accessible and affordable. And also we do provide other professional development trainings, offerings on various different topics, such as the financial aid process, resources and support options, student loans, all of those types of things. So if you are interested in any of our other trainings, we do have webinars as well as in-person trainings that are coming up. So stay tuned for that. Sign up for our e-messaging as well if you'd like to hear about other opportunities. Okay, so with the agenda today, we are going to start with a legislative update. Then we're going to go into PaCE frameworks across the state and how the state is doing right now in terms of adopting the PaCE framework. And then we're going to go into PaCE resources. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right into the presentation. So a little bit of background of PaCE, just so that everybody's on the same page. PaCE was or rather, the PWR Act was signed into law. PaCE is a part of the PWR Act. It was signed into law in 2016, and essentially it was there to develop a system to ensure high school students are college and career ready. In 2017, there was a deadline for all of the education agencies. So that is us, Illinois Student Assistance Commission, Illinois State Board of Education, so ISB, Illinois Community College Board, so ICCB, and then the Illinois Board of Higher Education. We were partnered to develop that system to ensure that Illinois high school students are graduating college and career ready. So that's how PaCE was born. We recommended a framework that outlines the Illinois PaCE framework. In May of 2022, Public Act 102-0917 was signed into law. It builds upon the PWR Act with a focus on PaCE specifically, as well as CCPEs. And I will go into Public Act 102-0917 and what that means for schools as well. In July of 2023, that was our deadline here at ISAC, as well as the other state agencies, to adopt and publicize an updated PaCE framework. So we did have to recently update it in 2023. And then in July of 2024, for Chicago public schools, in July of 2025 for all other public schools, this is essentially the call to action for everybody to make sure that they adopt either the Illinois PaCE framework or a customized framework, as well as posting it on a prominent area of your guys' website. So let's go into it, what that looks like for each of the schools, and we will talk a little bit about CCPs as well. So a little overview, Public Act 102-0917, it built upon the PWR Act that we were talking about earlier, with a focus on two of the components, so the PaCE framework as well as CCPEs. It was signed into law in 2022 and became effective in 2023. And it amended certain sections of the Illinois School Code for both Illinois public high schools as well as Chicago public schools. And there are different deadlines for each, and I will go into that a little bit more in depth. So for education agencies specifically, so the four that I mentioned earlier, we had to make sure that we adopted and publicized an update to the PaCE framework. So PaCE has been around now for a little while, but we did have to make updates, as well as we had to extend it into the 6th grade. Previously it was that 8th through 12th grade, and now we have it extended into 6th grade. So there's a middle school framework as well as a high school framework. So it looks a little bit different from previous years. And for no later than July 1st of 2024, ISB had to publish and maintain a database by region for employer champions for work-based learning and career readiness programs. So if you are looking to get some help with your CCPEs, definitely check out ISB's website. They have so many different resources, and they shout out different schools that are doing a great job at implementing CCPEs. So definitely check that out as well. And they also have to maintain an inventory of those resources available to support school districts in implementation for CCPEs. So what does this mean with the update for both Chicago public schools as well as all other Illinois public schools? So for CPS, their deadline was this past July of 2024. They needed to adopt and commence the implementation of PaCE frameworks for grades 6 through 12. Either the PaCE framework as it is right now, or an aligned framework, so they could customize it as well. So that was their deadline this very past July. And also the CPS framework would need to be available on a prominent location of their district's website. But the looming deadline right now is for all other Illinois schools. So July 1st of 2025, for all other Illinois public schools, you need to adopt and commence implementation of the career exploration and career development activities in accordance with PaCE for grades 6 through 12. So if you're a unit school district, you would need to make sure that you take care of all the way from 6 through 12. If you are a school district that only serves high school, so 9 through 12, you would need to worry about the 9 through 12 grades. If you are a school district that only serves middle school, you would just need to be worrying about 6th through 8th. So I do want to make that distinction there. And also, again, the school district's framework needs to be available in a prominent location on the district's website as well. So this has not changed. This is the same for CPS. According to the law, it does need to be put onto your websites in a prominent location. What I recommend, if you already have a page dedicated to college and career resources for your high school, that's where you could put it. If you do not, you just need to figure out what is the best place for not only staff, but also students and parents to be able to see what is going on within the school in terms of college and career readiness planning. Also, for school districts other than CPS, you must have elected to implement CCPEs or must have opted out of implementation. So these are for school districts that serve 9th through 12th. So that is a distinction there as well. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about CCPEs. I won't go too into depth. I do just want to mention what the deadlines are, as well as how many endorsement areas you will need to have by what date. So for CPS specifically, if you're from a CPS school, you must have elected to implement CCPEs. For class of 2026, you need to have at least one endorsement area. For class of 2028, offer at least 2 endorsement areas. And then for class of 2030, offer at least 3 endorsement areas. And this is if the district has an enrollment of 350 students or more. And school districts that are other than CPS, same as what we were talking about earlier, there is one more year added on to that. So the same requirements just 1 year later, so class of 2027 offer at least one endorsement area, class of 2029 offer at least two endorsement areas, and then for class of 31 offer at least three endorsement areas. And again, this is if the enrollment was more than 350 students. So let's say you're looking at the CCPEs, the college and career pathway, and you are thinking, okay, we may want to opt out of this. So if that is something that your school board is contemplating CCPEs and thinking we may not be able to implement college and career pathway endorsements by that time, you may be able to opt out, but it has to be by school board action. So in order to opt out of either all or part of the requirements, you need to be considering the following and also have the findings of it. So you need to consider your school district's current system for college and career readiness, the school district's cost of implementation balanced against the actual benefits to the students when you're implementing CCPEs. The willingness and capacity of local business partners that are in your area to partner with you to be able to successfully implement pathways, willingness of other higher ed institutions that are in your area to partner with you for implementation of pathways, as well as the availability of dual credit opportunities in your area. The availability of statewide database of participating local business partners as well for the purpose of career readiness. And then also the availability of teachers that are meeting the faculty credential standard for dual credit courses in specific endorsement areas. So if you're looking and considering all of these things and you think at the end of the day, CCPEs would be, something that costs more than it's worth, you are able to opt out. You would just need to make sure that your school district is reporting its board findings and decision to ISB. Okay, so there is also House Resolution 681. So House Resolution 681 was adopted in 2022 and it became effective immediately. So what is House Resolution 681? So both ISAC and ISB, we were tasked with things that we had to do in accordance to the House resolution. So for ISAC specifically, we had to publish an annual report both documenting and recognizing the leadership of districts that are implementing a PaCE framework. For ISB specifically, they need to make sure that they are publishing an annual report documenting and recognizing leadership of eligible districts that are implementing college and career pathway endorsements, as well as encouraging all districts that are serving grades 9 through 12 to implement the college and career pathway endorsements in multiple areas in collaboration with post-secondary and workforce partners. And then for both ISAC and ISB, we just need to continue to encourage all districts serving grades 8 through 12 to implement their PaCE framework, as well as extend it to serve the earlier grades, such as 6th and 7th grade. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about PaCE across the state and how we're doing so far. Most recently, we have identified 233 schools and districts who are implementing PaCE. So this is what our map currently looks like. There are 173 schools out of those 233 who have decided to customize a PaCE framework. So customizing just means it still needs to be aligned to the Illinois PaCE framework, but there is that flexibility piece that you are able to customize it how you see fits and in accordance to your student population. 56 of which were customized with us here at ISAC and on the professional development team. We have been able to come out and help facilitate that process for schools to customize a PaCE framework. And then 60 of these schools who have chosen to adopt Illinois PaCE as is. So we do have a repository of frameworks that are available on our website as well, and I do have some examples to show you here in just a bit. So I do want to go through the middle school framework, the high school framework, the components, what it looks like. So the middle school framework, this is what it looks like. It is for 6th through 8th grade. So it is quite a bit smaller than the high school framework, mostly because we know that high school students are the ones that have to, do a lot of the work when it comes to post-secondary planning. But that doesn't mean that 6th through 8th grade, we are not doing any work. There are still things that here at the state we have recognized that 6th through 8th grade students should be working on, especially socially, emotionally, as well as executive functioning skills that they would need before they even get to high school so that they can complete those other tasks successfully. So let's talk a little bit about the components themselves. So the first thing you'll see on either of the frameworks is the by the end of with the arrow. So the by the end of 6th grade, by the end of 7th and 8th. That is just for you all to see like whatever is underneath that, any of the activities that you see underneath each of those. That just means that that activity needs to be hit on before the end of that year. So it doesn't matter necessarily what the time frame is, it just needs to be addressed before that next year, because a lot of these activities are also scaffolded, so they build upon each other as well. So in order to be successful in 7th grade, there are some things in 6th grade that they need to work on in order to get to some of these 7th grade activities. So the next thing I want to talk about is the 3 different domains. So the first domain is aspiration, the second is planning, and then the third is self-advocacy. So like I said, it is a lot more based on the social emotional learning piece that students need before they get into high school to be able to advocate for themselves while they're in high school, to have those necessary planning and executive functioning skills as well as, be in a state of mind to aspire to something as well. So the last thing I want to mention are the action items that students need to do. So the first is a student should be exposed to. So these are just concepts that a student should understand before the end of a certain year, and then a student should be supported to. So these are specific action items or experiences that a student should be supported to do before the end of that school year as well. This is what the high school PaCE framework looks like. So it goes from grades 9 through 12. If you do remember, before we updated the framework, it did go 8 through 12, but that is why we have split them up now, because we had to make an update and also extend it into 6th grade. So let's talk about the components of the high school framework. So again, you'll see the by the end of, so this is for each grade level. There are different domains for high school. So the first is career exploration and development. The second is post-secondary education, exploration, preparation, and selection. And then the third is financial aid and literacy. So as you can see, these topics are a lot more high stakes, and that is why we have some of the activities that we did in middle school to get them prepared to be able to explore different careers and also be able to look into different post-secondary options and advocate for themselves. And also the planning piece of all of this is being able to get ready to plan to go to college. So there are also 3 different categories here. So there's just one more than the middle school framework. So a student should be supported to. Again, these are the action items or experiences that they should be supported to do. A student should know. So these are just key concepts that they need to know before the end of that school year. And then a student should have. So this one is a third one, and it is only seen in the 12th grade. That is because it is for completion of time-sensitive tasks, such as completing a FAFSA or the alternative application for Illinois financial aid, or just in general completing college applications as well. So that one you would see only in 12th grade. Okay, so if you are still in the beginning of this process and you are unsure what direction to go and how to even start, the very first thing you would need to figure out with you, your principal, your admin, and other people in the building is, are we going to adopt the Illinois PaCE framework in its entirety? Or are we going to decide to customize a PaCE framework? So you can see on the left-hand side, that is what the Illinois PaCE framework looks like. But if you are looking to customize one, we do have customizable templates on our website as well. So that would be the first decision that you would have to make with your colleagues to decide what would be the best option for your school. So I do want to talk a little bit about the purpose of the framework and why we are doing this and why it became a law in the first place. So it's supposed to be used as a tool to guide the college and career readiness efforts within a school or district. We obviously realize that most schools already have some sort of programming when it comes to college and career readiness efforts, but the purpose is to have it documented somewhere. So it provides the school with 3 things specifically. So we have identified that it provides sustainability. So having that framework, having it on your school's website, as well as potentially even printing it out really big, putting it in the counselor's office or the college and career center, or posting it around the school. It ensures that all staff understand what is happening in the school in terms of college and career readiness. You know, in a lot of schools across the state, there may be only 1 or 2 people whose job it is to take care of those things. And, you know, we have dealt in this state with a lot of turnover and things like that. So if, let's say, the college and career counselor decided to leave or retire, they may take their programming with them, right? So having a framework, it allows that work to be replicated from year to year, and everybody knows what's going on within the school. It also provides accountability. So by having that framework, now all of the staff members understand, 1, what needs to happen at each grade level, but then they can also identify how the work that they are doing, especially teachers specifically, the work that they are doing fits into the framework. So just an example, you know, if you're an English teacher or, you know, you have English teachers, right? If they see that there's resume writing, that is something that you want your students in their junior year to be working on, that English teacher can help by incorporating a unit on resume writing in order to hit that benchmark in that year. So this can also help other teachers decide what their role is in college and career readiness efforts in the school, as well as how they can help in terms of implementation and the programming piece of it. And lastly, we also have flexibility. So the flexibility piece, like I was saying earlier, the mandate for adopting the Illinois PaCE framework in its entirety, it falls on the education agencies only. So only we need to be aligning our services off of this framework. The schools and districts, y'all have the flexibility to make changes and customize as you guys see fit. Depending on your student population. You know, if you look at the entire framework and you see some benchmarks that don't really make sense for your students, or maybe you don't have the funding to be able to make some of the benchmarks happen for your school, then you can decide to, you know, take away some certain benchmarks, you can add certain benchmarks. So there is that flexibility piece to customize it as you see fit. And lastly, another thing I would like you all to keep in mind is that frameworks, they can either encompass a single school, multiple schools, an entire district, or an entire region. So frameworks, they can either be specifically or broadly applied. So that is something to decide as well. So if you have a really cohesive district and maybe the district, like within all of the schools, the student population is relatively similar, and you decide, you know, as a district, it would just be smart to just have a district framework, that works too. So it really just depends on what the school decides is the best for them and their students. So like I said, that very first step is either adopting the framework in its entirety or developing a customized one. So what would you need to do in order to make that decision? First, you would need to review each of the benchmarks in the Illinois PaCE framework in its entirety. So you look at the PaCE framework, you look at all of the benchmarks, and then you need to start considering addressing college and career readiness indicators, making sure that it is still hitting on college and career readiness indicators that are important to the school. You need to also consider administration support and/or approval if that is something that you need in order to move forward with adopting the PaCE framework. Considering your available resources as well. So like I was saying earlier, if you see specific benchmarks that you think are not really going to be feasible for your school, or you maybe don't have the resources in order to have adequate programming on certain benchmarks, the needs of your student population as well. Partnerships within the community also really matter. So if you feel like there are certain benchmarks where you just don't have the partnerships within the community that you think would make it successful, that is something to consider as well. Potential costs. And then also who needs to be involved in PaCE framework development if you decide to customize it. So school districts, y'all can either request a PaCE framework development workshop from us, or you can customize a PaCE framework on your own. That is up to you all. But it is important, if you are deciding to customize it, to have a team of different people at the table in order to discuss, which benchmarks would be the most important to have on your framework moving forward. So if you do decide to develop the framework yourselves and customize it, it's just important that consensus is reached among the team about, one, which benchmarks to include, and also which grade levels each benchmark should be assigned to. So if you are looking for potential members to include on this team when you are building your PaCE framework, it's important to include counseling staff, obviously, school district administration, so curriculum directors, your principal, your superintendent. But I think one area that a lot of people forget about is the teachers. But they are going to be able to tell you if they're already hitting certain benchmarks in certain grade levels. So if you don't invite the teachers who spend the most time with the students, you may not know that, oh, this benchmark in junior year, we're actually hitting on it in freshman year. So they would be able to tell you already, oh, we're doing this, but we're doing this in a different grade level. They would be able to tell you at least reasonably what grade level each of the benchmarks they would be able to hit on, or they already are hitting on. Okay, so we do have customized framework examples as well on our website. So it doesn't quite look like this anymore because we have quite a few, so we actually do it A through Z now. So we do this so schools and districts that are interested in customizing, they can see different examples. So if you do already have a customized framework and you're looking on our website and you don't see it on there, email us and we will post it to the page as well. So let's take a look at a few examples here. So for this one, you can see that they have extended from 6th and 7th grade and 8th grade, and they have extended all the way into 12th grade. So they have made sure for District 100 in Belvedere that they have all the way from 6th through 12th grade. But again, if you're not a unit school district and you decide, okay, we are, just going to do 9th through 12th, that is totally fine. Or if you're just a district serving middle school, you would just do 6th through 8th. We did also want to show you this one from Riverbend School District as well. They have extended all the way into 5th grade. So if you are looking to extend even further and see what are other schools doing all the way into 5th grade, I know that there was one or two that extended all the way into 2nd grade, just to see what are the different activities that other schools think are important to be completing in each grade level. As well as to see how other schools have customized their framework, what are the benchmarks that they have included, what grade level do they think is important to be hitting on certain benchmarks, as well as, excuse me, sorry, let me take just one second, my throat is a little scratchy. I could hear myself starting to have a little bit of a scratchy voice. So sorry, what was I saying? Also, if you'd like to see, specific districts on, oh, like our district is very similar to this district, let's see what they're doing, that is also a great way to look at the examples as well. So if you see districts that are very similar to yours, that they are already up, you can look into that as well. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about our PaCE support and resources. So the very first thing I want to talk about is our PaCE support request form. So we do offer both in-person and virtual support options for you all to learn about and understand how to implement a PaCE framework. So if you are interested in one of our support options, go to our isac.org/PaCE/PaCE request form. If you did a quick Google search, PaCE request form ISAC, it should pop up as well. Just make sure if you are using it to scroll all the way to the bottom and press submit. Otherwise, we won't receive it. So just making sure that you do that and submit it. So we do have upcoming a curriculum training for the middle school PaCE framework specifically. So we have developed a curriculum that coincides with the PaCE framework for middle schools. So we are working on this training. It is coming up. So we are getting ready to announce it. So if you are not already signed up for e-messaging, go ahead and sign up for e-messaging. If you're from high schools and you have middle school partners, please share with your networks as well, because it is coming up, and we want to make sure that middle schools are also ready to implement the PaCE framework as well. We also have our half-day PaCE module trainings. It's split into 2 half-days. We discuss how to get started with PaCE, best practices, and as well your next steps to successfully adopt and implement a PaCE framework. So again, it's split up into 2 half-day trainings, and I do have a QR code here as well. So for this fall, we have 2 locations that are coming up. So Heartland Community College and Southern Illinois University. With part 1 for Heartland on October 25th. So that's coming up pretty quickly here. And then part 2 on December 3rd. We wanted to make sure it was spread out enough for those that wanted to make it out to both dates. And then for Southern Illinois, part 1 is on November 1st and part 2 is on December 6th. We also have our 2024 College Access Symposium. So in previous years, if you have attended our PaCE Symposium or our FAFSA Symposium, we have decided to put them together, make a baby, and this is our College Access Symposium. So we have it at 4 locations this year. It's just going to be in the fall this year. So just something to note as well, if you are looking to learn more about PaCE, specifically, join us at one of our locations, and they are on the screen right here. And if you look up College Access Symposium ISAC, you'll be able to find it as well. We also have our PaCE website, obviously. That is where you'll find the PaCE support request form that I talked about earlier, but we also have a myriad of different materials and resources to support PaCE, including descriptions of our PaCE support options. We have implementation support and worksheets that coincide with implementation. We have customized framework examples like we were talking about, as well as any of the upcoming in-person trainings and events and webinars will be on this page as well. So if you're interested in any of the trainings that I just talked about, the middle school curriculum training, the PaCE module training, or the College Access Symposium, you can be able to find that as well. So we have other resources. We have our PaCE implementation guide on our website as well, which provides guidance on adopting and implementing the framework, building understanding with stakeholders, developing a plan for implementation, executing the implementation plan, as well as best practices for how to build a team of stakeholders specifically. So if you feel like that is an area that you are still trying to work on, definitely take a look at this, because this is a really great guide for how to connect with others and get them get them on your team when it comes to PaCE implementation. We also have our PaCE crosswalk on our website as well. So the PaCE crosswalk specifically talks about the overlap between Illinois PaCE, as well as college and career readiness indicators and college and career pathway endorsements. So it goes over what are the PaCE benchmarks that hit on both CCRIs and CCPEs. So if you are looking to see how they are mutually what do you call it, mutually inclusive, if that makes sense, how they overlap with each other and how they are reinforcing each other. Definitely take a look at that as well. We also have an Illinois Career Pathways Dictionary. So at first it was just a PDF with all of the different terms, but now it is on a website, which is really nice, on all the different terms when it comes to PaCE, college and career pathway endorsements. If there are still terms that, that I've mentioned today that don't really make sense to you, or if there are terms that you have heard before and you're still like, I'm not 100% sure what that means, such as like a team-based activity or college and career pathway endorsements or college and career readiness indicators or work-based learning continuum and things like that. If those are still terms that you're not 100% sure what they mean, definitely go to the Career Pathways Dictionary. You're able to scroll through the different letters to see all of the different terms, and if a specific term that you click on also relates to other terms, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, they'll have terms that relate to it specifically. We also have an Illinois PaCE student checklist. So this is, for right now, it's for 9th through 12th grade. So it coincides with the high school PaCE framework. And what it is a resource for students to use. So it is, at least for now, the PaCE student checklist, it is written in student-friendly language based off of the high school PaCE framework. So if they look at the PaCE framework and they're like, I'm not 100% sure what any of this means, and you want something to pass out to students when it comes to what they should be hitting on in 9th grade, 10th grade, this is a great resource to use. You can print it out, and if you're seeing students during registration for their classes and they are asking like, hey, are there things that I should be doing to prep for my senior year, you can give them the PaCE student checklist because it'll give them all of the action items that they need to do for every single year so that they can be college and career ready. Also, on the gift assistance program or GAP access, there is a way to document your college and career readiness plan. So on GAP access, there's a drop-down menu now to indicate if your school is following a specific type of college and career readiness plan. So the options are other, Illinois PaCE framework, or customized framework, or none. So if you are able to document that, that is really helpful for us here at ISAC too, because we can see if you write none or other. And if that is the case, we can, reach out to the schools that say that they do not have a college and career readiness plan, so that we can reach out and see if they need support in implementing the PaCE framework. So definitely go into GAP Access and make sure that you are documenting what your college and career readiness plan is. We also have our FAFSA communication toolkit, obviously more specifically for high school. So if you or your school is having a bit of difficulty, talking about the changes with the FAFSA and all of the things that happened in this past year, and you're wondering, how can we word it to students and families, we have guides and examples to connect with students and families. So emails, email to volunteers, robocall scripts, flyers, social media posts, and we also have them in both English and Spanish. So if you are interested, you can look into that as well. And then we also have our First Generation Scholars Network. So the First Generation Scholars Network is for first generation students that are interested in joining. So it allows students that are first gen to, one, connect with a first gen mentor, find different first gen programs on campuses, as well as join different check-in events with other first gen students, and services for this are free. So definitely, if you have a sizable group of first gen students in your school, let them know that this is available. Services, again, they are free, and they can find this on the student portal. So studentportal.isac.org/firstgen, and they just click join now. We are also here to help. So if you are a college access practitioner and you have, questions, we do have a texting service now called ISAC Connection. where you would actually be able to have a direct line to us here on the professional development team. So you would text with us and get your college and financial aid questions answered. So this is, again, for college access practitioners. It's not for students and parents and families. We have a completely separate line for that. This one is for professionals specifically. So if you're, you have a really complicated FAFSA situation with a student and you're wondering how to help that student, or if you have questions about PaCE, or if you have questions, just text us. You can get started by texting your name at 847-250-2384. Okay, and finally, if you are looking for CE and PD hours, my colleague Tommy has just opened up the chat and through the link. So we would just ask that you provide feedback for today's session and complete that evaluation. So you would just need to make sure that you submit it before Monday, October 14th at 4:30 p.m. That is when it's going to close. It's a hard deadline. We always do 2 business days after a webinar. So again, if you're requesting those PD hours or CE hours, just making sure that you access the evaluation. It's posted in the chat, and we will follow up with all of the completed forms via email. Okay, so thank you all for joining today. If you do have any questions, email us at isac.pace@illinois.gov. And again, if you are looking for those upcoming events, if any of those called out to you, definitely sign up for our ISAC e-messaging service. And that is where we would announce all of those upcoming events, webinars, in-person trainings, and all of those things. And thank you again for joining.